My name is Aakhu, and I want to welcome you to the second installment of our Mastering Monetization series. As you know, I'm the guerrilla marketing consultant that helps Black businesses to develop high-impact, low-cost methods of marketing to improve and increase their profits. In today's video, we're going to look at the 7 critical mistakes that Black entrepreneurs make when they start a business. These mistakes stifle your ability to monetize and to monetize effectively and quickly. We're going to start with the first critical mistake that most people made, and it kind of picks up where we left off in the last video, which is most Black entrepreneurs presume that race is not a factor in business. You may have heard it said that the only color that matters is green. And while that seems nice and universal and there is a degree of importance to the significance of green in business, one should not use that as an excuse not to be aware of the impact that race has on a business. So again, if you remember what we said in the last video, you can go back and check that out. We said that every business should factor in race at the beginning of their process, and then strategically work at improving or figuring out how to overcome that challenge. Only when we start actually being active in the process of solving the problem will we solve the problem. But if we assume that it's just there, or it's just something that we can ignore, then it never goes away. And most times, as we've noticed in the past and today, it continues to grow and get stronger and more impactful daily. The second critical mistake that we make in business as Black entrepreneurs very often is that we start a business purely on emotion alone. We start with a knee-jerk reaction to something. So this means that many entrepreneurs are in business and they are in a state of desperation. They are in a state of emotional turmoil. They're dealing with so many other things and they're just trying to make something happen in the midst of chaos. And even if the environment around you is chaotic, it's very important that you learn that you don't function just on those reactionary emotions alone. If you're going to become a successful entrepreneur, you're going to have to learn how to manage that emotional turmoil better. You're going to have to learn how to leverage not just the emotion, but also the strategic thinking process, even in times of turmoil. This is one of the key elements of successful business people, because business will often become tumultuous. And if you're a Black entrepreneur, it'll probably happen more often than it happens for other people. So you want to begin already factoring in that you're going to go through a lot and you're going to enter a lot of different emotional states, but that you have already strategically prepared yourself to function at a high level when those states or those times arrive in your business. The third critical mistake that we make in Black business is the misuse of our imagination. There's a saying that says you shouldn't allow your imagination to run wild with you. And that's very true when it comes to business. If you listen to a lot of success gurus and other types of personalities that try to give us advice on how to succeed, they often tell us that we should spend time visualizing what it is we really want. We should visualize our mansions, and we should visualize our fancy cars, and we should visualize all the material things that we can attain in this world. And, I don't have a problem with that per se, but I think there's as a matter of fact, I know there's a more resourceful use of our imagination. Imagine, if you will, that we used our imagination in a problem-solving way. And what does that mean? That means we take a step back, and when we start a business and we have a goal for that business, we actually use our imagination to figure out or to do what is known in business as a SWOT analysis, to look at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats of that business, to literally imagine what could go right and what could go wrong. What does that do for you? That prepares you in a more secure way for the actual challenges that you will face. If you already know that things can go wrong, and if you've been living for any amount of time, you know that they always do, no matter how well you've planned, then you know that you don't have to stop just because things get tough. And that, again, is another critical state or a critical characteristic of the successful business entrepreneur. And it's more critical for Black entrepreneurs to understand that process, that principle. The fourth critical mistake that we make in business is that we have a misunderstanding of the nature of business. And this continues to baffle me as a consultant. How many people who are entering the business field do not understand the context that they are entering as business people? In guerrilla marketing, we are trained that business is warfare. As a matter of fact, many of the terms we use in marketing are very similar to terms we use in warfare. So a word like campaign, you may have heard of military campaigns, or a word like research. You do market research. Well, whenever you start a war, you also do intelligence finding missions or research to map out your campaign. So a lot of the structure and the principles that you actually use in war are very similar to what you use in marketing or in business. And what does that mean for you as an entrepreneur? What would happen if you went out into a war field, right, and you decided you would just start fighting? Could you see a problem with that? What if you did not understand the context for the war? Who was the war about? Why was the war being fought? If you didn't understand any of that, and you didn't have a plan for how to win the war, how would you actually win a war? And this is one of the mistakes, again, that Black entrepreneurs make many times in business. They don't understand the nature of competition and how severely people are attempting to get what you're calling your profit. Other businesses are more than happy for you to use bad marketing. They're more than happy because they're competing with you. So they get happy and friendly with you when you decide that you don't really have to use good marketing strategy. You can just try to just make it happen by luck, by wishful thinking, and perhaps by having a dream. And those things, again, are perfectly okay, but they are not what makes a business successful. And if you understand that you are at war, and that the war for profits is constantly raging and only getting more competitive each day, then you understand the importance of investing time in being a strategic thinker. Because the nature of war is that either you learn how to play to win or meet with your demise. Fifth critical mistake that Black entrepreneurs make in business very often is they approach the business like it's a job. And if I could use an analogy here of a business to a job and the difference in mindsets. When you are on a job, it's kind of like going to a tree that already has its fruits and seasons. You can just go there and pick the fruit and pick the fruit and pick the fruit. So you go to a job and every week the check comes on time. And it's pretty easy. You just show up and it comes. You show up and it comes. You show up and it comes. Business, on the other hand, is like planting the seed and then nourishing that seed, putting it in the ground, allowing it to get sunlight, watering it daily, making sure that it has adequate soil, nutrition, etc., etc. It's a completely different mindset. And many people go into business and stop by aborting the tree before it has reached the point of harvest. It's one of the major reasons why we stop in business is because if you started in desperation and you needed to bear fruit today and you plant a seed today, there's a great chance you're going to have a problem tomorrow. And so this, again, is a psychological shift that if you make and you understand that I am building something over time, then what you're doing now is you know that you're putting in more now in terms of investing in the business, in terms of learning how to operate the business, in terms of building an actual business system, in terms of understanding and knowing your market, in terms of spending more time strategically organizing your business so that in a few years it will replenish and it will give back to you in the way that you gave to it. A simple formula that we should all learn. The sixth mistake we make in small business is we approach the business like a consumer. And one of the things you may realize about Black people in general is that we are all fantastic consumers, because even though we make $900 billion a year as a purchasing power, most of it goes right away into the hands of other people because we have a consumer mentality. Now, one of the most dangerous things you can do as you try to venture into entrepreneurship is to have that same mentality and approach to your business. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. When you start your business, the advice you get from all your friends and family is to go out and buy stuff. So you buy your new computer and you buy this, your products, and you buy your space, you rent a space, and you put all these things that are taking out of you, and you have not invested a dime in marketing, in figuring out who are your potential customers. Because those things are less tangible, most people just don't bother to invest in them. But actually, those are the things that will actually cause your business to thrive. A business with customers is much more likely to survive than a business with lots of products, lots of great big space, with fancy computers and all the works. Which would you rather have? A small business with customers or a big business with a lot of stuff and nobody walking through the door? So again, be careful that you're not making that mistake, that your investments are happening in the right place. In other words, as opposed to just being a consumer, you are an investor. A business is an investment. So an investment means that you look at the places that will yield the return for your business. Which leads us to our seventh principle and critical mistake that Black entrepreneurs make, which is they refuse to invest into the thing that generates the money for them. So in your business is a system. Every business is a system. It's a particular type of system. All businesses are marketing systems. So for instance, a shoe business is a business that markets shoes. A car business is a business that markets cars. A clothing business is a business that markets clothing. So what do they all have in common? The marketing. And this is really where the tire hits the road in terms of determining whether your business will be successful or not. Show me a business that has figured out the marketing to a very high degree, and whatever challenges they may face otherwise in terms of their administrative problems or even production problems, there may be other problems in other areas, but there's no problem that is as unsolvable as when a business has no money coming in the door. It means then that you are not able to maintain all aspects of the business. So that's our 7 critical mistakes that small business people make. I want you to think over those 7 mistakes and to ensure that they are not a part of your makeup in any way. By the end of this, you should have developed a new psychological orientation now that prepares you to be successful in business and to monetize at a high level. My name is Aunkh, and I want to thank you for listening.